Connections with law enforcement, personal connections with K-9 law enforcement. Got cousins that are still doing it, and it's something that needs to be done. And if, like my mom said, it's me sitting here doing it, something good comes out of it.
Yeah.
Why would you not do something good with it?
For more details from this event, check out the story at beavercountyradio.com. From Beaver Falls, I'm Matt Durzik for Beaver County Radio News.
PennDOT is announcing drilling operations on Route 18 in Potter Township. Beaver County will begin today, weather permitting. Lane restrictions will occur at the Frankfurt Road Bridge weekdays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. through mid-July. Crews from Armstrong Drilling will conduct the work. PennDOT is also announcing a traffic shift on the 10th Street bypass in the city of Pittsburgh that will occur today through Friday, weather permitting. Westbound lanes on the 10th Street bypass under the 9th Street Bridge will close, and traffic will be shifted into the eastbound lanes from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. each day. A single lane of bidirectional traffic will be maintained in the eastbound lanes. Crews from Peoples Natural Gas will be conducting pipeline work. Civil trial jurors have found that Bill Cosby sexually abused a 16-year-old girl at the Playboy Mansion in 1975. The Los Angeles County jury delivered the verdict yesterday afternoon in favor of Judy Huth, who is now 64, and awarded her $500,000. The jury's decision is a major legal defeat for the 84-year-old Cosby. It comes nearly a year after his Pennsylvania criminal conviction for sexual assault was thrown out and he was freed from prison. Cosby did not attend the Los Angeles trial. He had repeatedly denied Huth's allegations that he forced her to perform a sex act at the mansion.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Afternoon showers and thunderstorms are expected today. Some could be severe. Otherwise, it's going to be mostly sunny, hazy, hot, and humid. High is going to be 93 degrees with heat index values as high as 100 degrees. Then tonight, chance of showers and thunderstorms mainly before 8 p.m. Partly cloudy otherwise overnight, low down to 63. Tomorrow is going to be a beautiful day. Sunny with a high of 82. Friday, sunny with a high of 86. Saturday is going to be a nice night to get out and watch some fireworks. Going to be a little warm here in the county. Sunny and hot all day long. High's going to be up to 92 degrees. Then Sunday, a chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms, high of 91 degrees. Our newscast this hour is being brought to you by the J&J Spratt Funeral Home located on 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. Now serving their 4th generation, where their roots go deep into your community. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com.
Now, it's time to talk on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and beavercountyradio.com. And now, here is the host of the show, Eddy Crow.
I totally forgot what was going on today, and may or may not shock you. That's not the first time that's happened. Welcome to Teleforum. I'm driving in, and I'm thinking, okay, today I dodged several bullets yesterday. I didn't have to talk about politics at all. Today, it's going to come up. And I owe an apology to Heather. I totally forgot. And I owe a thank you to Heather. Heather Humbert is going to be my guest. Well, she is my guest for the first hour today. First off, God bless you for providing an opportunity to talk about something pleasant. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay. Second, good to see you again. If you want to listen to this, that's great. You obviously figured that out. If you want to watch this is being live streamed right now on the Facebook, the Beaver County Radio Facebook page. Heather Humbert is with the Beaver County Conservation, is it Conservation District?
Yes, Conservation District.
Okay. How long have you been with the Conservation District? Because at least a year, because I remember talking to you before.
Been there for almost 7.5 years now. So,
is that a job that gets more satisfying with time?
It can. A lot of people start working at a conservation district in their local county, and some of them will stay there their entire careers. Some of them will move on to working with Department of Environmental Protection. So we have a lot of work that we do with them. Some of them move on to private industry. Some of them move on to other government agencies. So,
How much benefit when you go home at night do you get knowing you're doing a job that's important? Because lots of people have jobs in the grand scheme of things that may make them money, but it's not really contributing. With the conservation district, every day, do you get to go home and think, okay, the world's slightly less cruddy because of my work today? Do you ever think of it like that?
there's a lot of people that definitely get into conservation work because they care about doing stuff that benefits the environment and the world and society rather than worrying about their paycheck necessarily.
Okay.
I, as the environmental educator, it's definitely a job that once you get into it, you're there for life. You know, there's not a lot of educators that decide to move on to a second career later on.
Why is that, do you think? Because of the satisfaction?
Yes, I think a lot of people definitely, well, first off, there's only a certain group of people that like working with kids.
Oh, yeah, I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I get to work with all age groups. I work from pre-kindergarten groups all the way up through high school and college, and also do a lot of public and adult education as well.
What age group's the biggest pain in the rear end?
It depends.
The response, Heather, they're all lovely in their own way, but
It depends on what you like to work with. A lot of my
I want to work with kids that aren't jagoffs.
yeah,
Okay, but that ain't happening.
right.
Okay.
So a lot of environmental educators really like the younger kids because they are curious about everything. They are high energy. They have a lot of questions. They bring a lot of things to your attention that you might pass up on your average daily hike out in nature. I enjoy working with the teenagers because they're starting to get into that critical thinking stage. They start questioning things. They're more curious.
Is that the yeah, but crowd?
Yes,
Okay.
very much so.
Okay.
And I enjoy, the older students too, the ones in college that are starting to explore careers and figure out what they want to do for the rest of their life. So all age levels, you have a real opportunity to impact these kids and get them excited about the world around them.
You've done it, you said 7 or 8 years, right?
Yeah.
Have you had a kid come back? Has that happened to you yet? A kid comes back and said, I took your class when I was this age, and now this is what I'm doing?
Yeah, there are a number. I have teachers and scout leaders who bring groups to the Conservation District for field trips and programs year after year, and I see a number that will come back and say, yeah, I started there when I was in second grade or third grade, and I came here with the scouts, and I came here with my high school group, and then they move on to college and get into environmental science or wildlife or any of the other natural sciences that work with environmental either restoration or engineering or anything like that.
Heather Humbert is my guest. She is with the Beaver County Conservation District. How many people are at the Conservation District? I've met a few of you.
Mm-hmm. We have 7 full-time staff and 1 part-time staff. Jeff Flug's our district manager. Then we have Rich Voyko with our agriculture,
Right.
working with the farmers and forestry and helping people with soil health and agricultural regulations. Then we have Jen Linebaugh, Rachel Galloway, and Melinda Muehlbrunner, who are our resource conservationists working with developers and contractors who are doing new work sites, building new buildings, new infrastructure, anything like that. Hannah is our watershed specialist and in charge of dirt and gravel and low volume roads. So she works a lot with the municipalities. And Phoebe Prince is one of the previous guests here who goes out and does West Nile virus monitoring and trapping mosquito populations and doing outreach.
That sounds like an itchy job.
Yeah.
Yeah. what would you study to come out of school and be a watershed specialist or be any specialist? I'm listening to this and I'm a kid and I'm thinking, man, I'd like to do that. What should I study in school? What did you study?
Well, I studied wildlife technology and
Wait, what?
wildlife
Technology.
So that is basically the field work.
Robot bears.
No, it's tracking devices,
Okay.
GPS, satellite tracking, that sort of thing that you go and capture.
You could study that in school?
Yes, you can. And you learn how to capture animals safely. You learn how to set up studies so that you can track populations, assess habitat, all sorts of different things as far as land management, resource management goes. Some of our other staff studied environmental science, which is a lot more resource-based. They get a lot broader range of topics that they cover, not necessarily as focused as the wildlife majors, but
Okay.
they have a lot more interests, a lot more options that they can go to as far as careers.
When you go to work, is every single day different? I'm not talking about the classes that you teach, and we're going to get into the programs in a little bit, but when you go to work, are any 2 days alike?
There are very few days that are alike.
Okay. Remove this interview from your daily schedule. What is a typical day?
Basically, I can go in, check my emails, figure out.
No, that's the boring stuff. I want to know when you get bit by animals. When do you get to do the cool stuff?
Well, I schedule classes, and we develop our curriculum based on state standards. And if I have a scout group or 4-H group or anybody who is not necessarily within a formal education setting, I can customize curriculum classes for them. And we go out and we will do our investigation along the trails, look at habitat, look for signs of wildlife. Sometimes we do see wildlife.
Yeah.
We do a lot of stream surveys where the kids actually get into the water, catch all the macroinvertebrates, which are all the bugs and other
I was going to say
critters.
dumb it down. I don't know what
Yeah.
that is. You're talking about the swimmy creepies.
Yep.
Okay.
The swimmy creepy crawlies and all the cool things that fish like to eat. So we're looking at them, and some of them are really tiny, really hard to find, and others are 2 or 3 inches long and can really bite you, take a chunk out of you if you're not careful. So we always
Yeah, but isn't that a rite of passage the first time you get bit by something at work?
yeah, I would say so.
All right. How many animals have bit you?
Uh,
Because if you're trying to put GPS trackers on animals, there had to have been one at some point that had an issue with that, Heather.
Usually it is the rodents that bite more
They're
than
like
some of the
that.
other things. And
Wait, you're putting a GPS tracker on a rat?
not necessarily a rat. Those guys we usually do.
Well, what rodents are we talking about? Groundhogs?
Usually we're doing diversity surveys for when we're
Rodents
looking
from
at,
different neighborhoods?
well, you have actually a lot more rodents and other small mammals than you have larger mammals that
okay.
are native to Pennsylvania. So you figure there's 3 or 4 small mammals to every large mammal like a deer or a raccoon or a rabbit that is native.
And a
to
large
Pennsylvania.
mammal is considered, what, from a rabbit up?
Usually.
Okay. All right. It's 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA. I'm just picturing you trying to put a little GPS collar on a rat. Heather Humbert is my guest with the Beaver County Conservation Corps. When did you decide this is what you wanted to do? Was it a young age, or did you discover it later?
I've always liked being outside. I grew up camping and fishing and hiking and hunting, and basically it was the type of work that fit what I enjoyed doing, the environment I like to be in. And I noticed when I first went to college, I was at Geneva and wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And a lot of the people I encountered there were a little squeamish about some of the outdoor adventures that I enjoyed. So
You thought, all right, well, if they won't do it and I don't have a problem with it, I'll look into that.
yeah, pretty much.
Is that where it went from this is interesting to I want to do this?
Yes.
Yeah. Any regrets?
The only regret I would say is that I didn't start sooner, because I did spend 2 years at Geneva before transferring to Penn State. And both are great schools, but I think I could have gotten a lot further if I had started a little earlier.
Well, you've made it just fine. You said yourself you're somewhere. Do you have any desire to move on to a federal department or move on to state or anything?
No, I love being local in the county. I like being close to the communities that we have here in Beaver County, being able to teach kids and getting to see them go from young elementary school students all the way up through high school and getting ready to go away to college, and saying, hey, your programming or that experience really influenced my life and helped me decide that, yeah, I want to go into an environmental studies.
Is there a character trait that you find consistently through people that do the work you do? Aside from obviously you enjoy the outdoors and you're not squeamish about bugs, but is there a character trait that shows up as universal?
I would say that a lot of us pay attention to detail. We like to look at the little things that a lot of people miss. I mean, a lot of us are happy just going for a walk in the woods, and if we only get 100 feet in an hour, that's us. We will look at anything and everything and get excited about the weirdest, strangest things that you can imagine, like a mushroom or a lichen or a moss or something.
You're
like
one
that.
of those. So you could sit and spend 20 minutes staring at a mushroom.
Yes.
Okay. When you first realized that about yourself, was there any concern that people were going to look at you funny?
Not really.
No?
No.
You were comfortable enough in your own skin even then?
Yeah. I was voted most likely to enjoy reading a scientific paper on wild turkeys when I was in high school. So,
Really?
yes.
I'd be so much more proud of that than most. Were you valedictorian? No, but check this out. Well, you were made for it. Heather Humbert is my guest. She is with the Beaver County Conservation District. It's popped up a couple times talking about the classes. I do want to get into the classes, and we'll take care of that after we take care of news with Frank Sparks on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
Make plans to attend Beaver County Boom and make Beaver County Radio a part of your evening celebration on June 25th. Turn up the volume and gaze to the skies, because the special choreographed pyrotechnic score set to flames in the heavens will create an experience unlike any other. It's all happening Saturday, June 25th. The Presley Ridge live broadcast on Beaver County Radio starts with on-site coverage in Bridgewater at 6, followed by choreographed music on the radio and the enormous fireworks display starting at 9:45. Broadcast sponsors include the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, Tom Sites Demolition, Electric Garage Door Sales, the Hopewell Shopping Center, Fried Transportation, City Rescue Mission, the Beaver County Transit Authority, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Junction Auto Service, and Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and 95.7 FM.
Last month, I talked to you about two of my favorite things that go together, liver and onions. Can't you just smell the onions sizzling on the griddle? This is Andy Dangle from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right. I'm here to talk to you about another two-of-a-kind pair that I really like, vehicles and vacations. You can't go on vacation without a good car, and you can't buy a good car without a great loan. See what I mean? One visit to Freedom United Federal Credit Union can get you heading down the road, or perhaps in the water, or the woods with, are you ready for some more alliteration? A cruise, a camper, or quad. Put a little sizzle in your life this year, and that starts with, get ready, here comes a doozy, a transportation, vacation, or recreation loan. Now there's three things I like together. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, equal housing lender.
Falling Falling in love is one thing. Having anxiety about falling is a whole different subject. If you or a family member are concerned about falling, and yes, either up or down the stairs, or maybe even out of bed, St. Barnabas has a special message and some ideas just for you. Years of experience in working with people who are prone to falls has given St. Barnabas special expertise in this area. Call them at 724-443-0700 and learn about ways that you can begin to feel more confident and safe, including suggestions that you can implement right now into your daily routine. Call St. Barnabas at 724-443-0700. For many years now, St. Barnabas has been helping people fall in love, that is, with their new, better life, a longer life, a risk-free life. Call St. Barnabas now at 724-443-0700 or visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com and learn more about living longer and better.
Who's this week's pick of the litter? Listen to Beaver County Radio every Monday and Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 noon for the Beaver County Humane Society's Pick of the Litter. We'll be highlighting 2 lucky resident animals from the shelter who need a loving home. Plus, we'll be featuring pictures and information about the animals on our website each week. It's WBVP WMBA 99.3 FM and 95.7 FM's Pick of the Litter each Monday and Friday in the 11 o'clock hour of Teleforum. Pick of the Litter on Beaver County Radio is brought to you by the Beaver Falls Beauty Academy, Nally Elias and Associates, Tom Sipes Demolition, Albert's Heating and Air Conditioning in Conway, and Beaver County Radio. 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and 1460 WMBA.
The Beaver County Boom on June 25th starts the beginning of summer fun and vacation. If you're driving anywhere this summer season, don't leave it to Lady Luck to keep your car running smoothly, and Junction Auto Service is the place to take it. Junction Auto is your one-stop shop for all your car's needs, from air conditioning and cooling systems, batteries, oil, and more. Junction Auto even does motorcycle inspections. Remember, when you want your car to function, call Junction. Junction Auto Service, Constitution Boulevard, New Brighton. Happy to help sponsor the Beaver County Boom celebration.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning, as today's forecast is calling for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Some could be severe, otherwise it's going to be mostly sunny, hazy, hot, and humid today. High's going to be 93 degrees. We do have heat index values as high as 100 today as well. We'll have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast coming up for you right after we have this look at news. The Center Township supervisors met on Monday night, and they're considering an amendment to an existing ordinance. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano has more.
Center supervisors adopted a resolution Monday night to consider an amendment to its existing ordinance regarding self-storage units. The supervisors' next meeting is Monday, July 11th at 7 p.m. This is Sandy Giordano reporting for Beaver County Radio.
The Cornerstone of Beaver County, a nonprofit organization dedicated to preventing and ending homelessness in Beaver County, will once again serve as a cooling center this summer for those experiencing homelessness or housing-related crisis in Beaver County. The Cornerstone Beaver County Executive Director Marie Tampano said in a release that every day we see people and families who are experiencing housing-related crisis, whether they have become homeless, received an eviction notice, or can't afford to pay their utility bills. These situations can lead to many complications and risks, even around seemingly simple things like summertime heat. Now, the Cornerstone of Beaver County is located at 600 6th Street in Beaver Falls. They are open as a cooling center from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. They're one of 3 cooling centers open locally. The other 2 are the Trails Ministries, which is at 1217 7th Avenue in Beaver Falls. They are open from Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And then the Rochester Free Methodist Church in Rochester on Jefferson Street. Now, you have to call ahead for that one at 724-774-5304, and all 3 sites' addresses are listed on our website at beavercountyradio.com. Pennsylvania State Representative Aaron Bernstein has introduced an amendment to Senate Bill 1283 that would require Penn State University to provide information about the Joe Paterno statue. A statue was erected at the university located in State College, honoring Paterno, who was Penn State's head football coach for more than 4 decades. On July the 22nd of 2012, 6 months after Paterno's death, the university announced the statue was removed from its pedestal outside Beaver Stadium and stored in an unnamed secured location. University officials cited that it had become a source of division and an obstacle to healing after the Jerry Sandusky child abuse scandal. The amendment would require Penn State to submit a report to the House and Senate Education Committees about the location of the statue and the method of storage and protection of the statue. This report would be required in order for the university to receive its annual appropriation from the state. In addition, this information will be required to be posted on the university's website, notwithstanding any current law. Senate Bill 1283 would provide funding for state-related universities such as Penn State, Pitt, Temple, and Lincoln for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. And Jeff Bost, host of Living Well with Dr. Joseph Maroon every Saturday morning here on Beaver County Radio, joined Eddy Crow yesterday on Teleforum, and Jeff talked about what does it mean when it gets hot and there's an orange ozone action day.
90 degrees is bad, but when you add an ozone action day, that's really bad. I would say very few people know why that's bad. And ozone is actually an oxidant. So what does that mean? Well, you ever see the rust on the side of your car that, maybe some exposed metal and that rust forms? That's oxidation. Whenever we're exposed to an oxidant in our body, we don't necessarily get rusty, but it acts and reacts to our tissues within our lungs. So basically, this oxidant is an irritation to the lung line, and it causes an inflammatory reaction. So people that already have things like asthma or COPD or other pulmonary problems, it actually irritates it even more. So it causes more breathing problems, more difficulty. And even if you don't have a problem with an underlying lung problem, you go outside today, you're going to feel a little bit of a difficulty breathing, maybe a little more mucus production, again, because of that oxidative stress on the body, causing more causing more irritation and more inflammation. So that's why ozone action, meaning the ozone's very high and the action is to stay out of it as much as we can, or at least to avoid exertion.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Afternoon showers and thunderstorms are expected today. Some could be severe. Otherwise, it's going to be mostly sunny, hazy, hot, and humid. High is going to be 93 degrees with heat index values as high as 100 degrees. Then tonight, chance of showers and thunderstorms mainly before 8 p.m. Partly cloudy, otherwise overnight, low down to 63. Tomorrow is going to be a beautiful day. Sunny with a high of 82. Friday, sunny with a high of 86. Saturday is going to be a nice night to get out and watch some fireworks. It's going to be a little warm here in the county. Sunny and hot all day long. High is going to be up to 92 degrees. Then Sunday, a chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. High of 91 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com.
Your community, your radio stations, originating from the St. Barnabas Control Studio in Beaver County. 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls and 1460 WMBA Ambridge.
The program is Teleforum. I'm Eddy Crow. My guest is Heather Humbert. She comes in from time to time, makes me feel better about the world because she cares about the world. Heather is with the Beaver County Conservation District. And before we were talking about classes, you teach literally, because I saw the pamphlet. One day you could be teaching a kindergarten kid. Mm-hmm. Next day you could be teaching a college kid.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
As an educator, how much fun is that versus how challenging is that? Because most teachers, they have a lesson plan for sure, mm-hmm. but they've got a lesson plan for their group. You don't have a group.
Yeah, it does get a little challenging because I have teachers coming in, they know their kids, right. And I don't know their kids.
You ever have a teacher go, hey, Heather, come here, see that one? Don't put your hands near his mouth.
No.
No? Okay.
No. Usually they just sort of stand back and let me figure it out.
Yeah, you're their substitute for the day, aren't you?
Pretty much.
You deal with them. I got them here.
Yeah. But, it's... usually my younger groups are a lot bigger. My older groups are more specialized because it'll be the honors science class, or it'll be a specific
Okay.
college course that is coming in. So it's challenging sometimes to go from trying to be really general and broad with the topics that I'm teaching, and then having to narrow it down and answer really technical questions. But
Do the older kids ever test you?
on occasion, yes.
Yeah?
Yes, and that's actually one of my favorite things about the job is having those kids come in and test me and have me thinking on my toes and keeping me, always active and trying to figure out what they're going to ask next. So
All right, start at age-wise at the bottom, K through third grade. When's the last time you taught a wetland eatery class?
I'm can't remember when I last taught one, but
Okay.
I do have.
What is it?
Basically, it
Because if you're
is-
teaching kindergartens anything to do with the word eatery, how many of them are eating stuff that they're pulling out of the ground?
Yeah, sometimes I do have to tell them, please don't eat the wildlife. But
oh, my God.
they come in, they learn about food chains and food webs and different plants and animals and what they eat. So it's a good class because I can spin the idea that there are predators out there, but that's not necessarily a bad thing that they're eating other animals. I can talk about
I never thought about that.
yeah, especially with the kindergarten and
Right.
the really young ones.
Why did the coyote eat my bunny?
Yeah, exactly. They sometimes get a little teary eyed about
Sure,
that.
well,
But
sure.
when you talk about the swallows and the bluebirds eating the mosquitoes that are trying to eat them, then
Right.
they're like, yeah, we love predators at that point.
Those they're good predators.
Yes.
All right, that's the wetland eatery class. Anybody wants to sign up for any of these classes, it's all available. All this information's on the website, correct?
Yes,
That's-
all of our classes are listed on the website.
And it's Beaver County Conservation District.org.
Mhm.
All right, what is Habitat?
What is Habitat is...
Well, it's a class that you teach the third graders and
Yep.
up. So what is Habitat?
It is a class where we talk about all the factors that go into creating habitat and why some animals will consider an area habitat, but other animals won't. We talk a lot about...
What are the? No, I'm going to be the third grade kid and ask you a question. What determines that? I would assume food source is first, right?
Usually food, also shelter, and then there has to be enough space. If you're a frog, you're not going to need as much space as a black bear.
Okay.
So a lot of times it is determined almost exclusively by space. Once you have all the food sources, water sources, shelter.
Does nature fill itself out? If there is space for black bears, okay, and there aren't black bears taking up the space, will they eventually take up the space? Will the breeding and the population adjust itself?
If they can find their way to that habitat, they
Right.
will eventually utilize it. And we actually do have a black bear that we've seen signs of it around the conservation district in the last few years.
Okay, that's a very polite phrase. What you mean is poo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He's left his mark. Is that exciting or does that make you nervous? Because there's a difference from bear species to bear species, but any bear can mess you up.
Yeah, I find it exciting. It's great to see that there is enough food sources and other resources that an animal that large can live down there. Some of the next door neighbor farmers are not too happy when he's eating their corn, but
Where is down there?
at our office, we are in Independence Township.
Okay.
So we're in the floodplain of Raccoon Creek is my outdoor classroom, and we have about 80 acres that we can use for teaching these classes.
All right, with the What is Habitat class, part of what you teach is how people can make habitat better.
Yes.
I see stories about people trying to help out honeybees and things like that. It's not difficult to make habitat better. It's not necessarily a massive project. What can I do at home simply if I want to contribute even a little bit?
Planting native species, especially wildflowers, If you have room to have a tree, trees are great because they will provide shelter and also food sources for a variety of animals. And also making sure that you have the different layers from, tall, mature trees down to understory, then your brushy shrub level, and also your ground covers. Just diversifying the vertical element of that habitat can do a lot.
You just broke it down on 4 layers, and I never even thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, oh, the woods are nice. But as you broke it down, I thought, yeah, there is a different layer. And that's habitat layer by layer for different animals too, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
All right, talk about wetland benefits, because at this point, that's 4th to 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between a wetland and a flood?
Well,
standing water next to the highway is not necessarily a wetland.
Right.
Okay.
So with wetland benefits, we get into more of the environmental and people benefits of wetlands, not just the wildlife. So we talk about how wetlands can help mitigate flood damage, lessen flood damage.
That's how they can help me.
Yes.
Okay.
And they also help recharge groundwater sources. So if you live in an area that relies a lot on well water, wetlands can help make sure your well doesn't run dry. And there's also, as far as recreation goes, I mean, every time I take a class out, they're enjoying a hike or investigating, different wildflowers, different wildlife. That's recreation. So
it's a natural amusement park.
yes, exactly.
I want to ask your personal opinion about something. Heather Humbert is my guest with the Beaver County Conservation District. Every once in a while I see a story come up. They need that water, so they're going to take that water out of this creek or that creek. Raccoon or Big Swickly Creek, I think, was the last. When you see that, what is the first thing you think?
I think about, is there enough water in that watershed for them to take that amount of water out?
Aren't we? I see droughts everywhere. How are the Western PA watersheds?
Oh, we are actually doing a lot better than other parts of the country.
Okay.
We have been getting wetter, whereas other parts of the country are getting drier. But we do a pretty good job of protecting our wetlands and our stream and other water resources here in Pennsylvania. So we actually have more water resources than a lot of other states. The only other state that has more miles of stream than Pennsylvania in the entire United States is Alaska.
Really?
Yes. So we definitely have a lot of water resources.
Are we getting better at that? You just said we're in a more fortunate place, but as far as managing the natural resources, that's a lot of natural resources just with the streams. Are we getting better?
I would say we are. We have a lot more watershed groups, a lot more community groups that are interested in taking on the role of taking care of the environment, not only to better the local watershed, but also because they are learning more about it. There's a lot of resources out there, not only through the Conservation District, but other organizations that do environmental education. And, there's a lot of people that are getting kids more interested in becoming active members of their communities as far as resource management goes. So we are getting a lot more public interest that way. We also are constantly updating and working on regulations at the state level. With the conservation districts, we get a lot of our responsibilities from DEP,
Okay.
and DEP gets theirs from the EPA. So
A lot of acronyms in this line of work.
So Department of Environmental Protection, and at the federal level you have Environmental Protection Agency. And the federal rules and regulations are usually not as strict as the state level in Pennsylvania.
Really?
So, yeah. In other states, that's not always the case. You always have to meet the federal regulations, but we, on a number of things, we do go above and beyond what the federal government requires.
In a weird way,
Mm-hmm.
when COVID came and nobody could be around anybody, so we all just went and played in the woods,
Mm-hmm.
did that help the cause of the conservation district? Did that make more people aware of what's out there because that's all they had to do?
I think it does help. It gets a lot more people seeing what is in their own backyards.
Okay.
A lot of conservation that you see on TV or the internet talks about, Africa or South America and the Amazon and places like that. But for people to be able to actually go out and see that we have natural resources right here in Pennsylvania that are worth protecting and should be protected and utilized responsibly, I think that makes them a lot more aware of their own impacts within local communities.
Does that motivate them more? That they can make a difference and they don't have to send money to a different continent? It's something they can feel the soil and do?
Yes, yeah. It's certainly easy for somebody to go and join a group that's doing, highway cleanup twice a year or just picking up trash anytime that they go on a walk along their favorite trail. Just take a little bag with you for, pieces of garbage that other people have
Does it make
left.
you mad when you're walking and you see like a 7-Eleven cup in the middle of the path?
It depends on how it got there. If I know that it got there because somebody deliberately dropped it,
Right.
that makes me mad.
Makes you mad. Well, how could it get there that it wouldn't bother you?
If it got washed in by a storm,
Okay.
because I have seen, plenty of dumpsters and garbage cans that people have filled, but if you get a flood come in.
The video of the dumpster going down the street.
Yes.
All right.
yes.
On the subject of that, pond and stream studies. That sounds like that's the first time you would really get your elbows into some mess when you root around. What do you teach them in that class?
We go and we try to catch anything and everything that is living in the stream or the pond. So sometimes that's those macroinvertebrates, all those insects and crayfish and things like that are living in the water. Sometimes we pull out some really cool minnows and other small fish, bait fish that we have some really unique species that people don't realize live here in Pennsylvania.
I want to pick your brain about something. There's a park in Moon. It's got a little stream that runs through it.
Mm-hmm.
It has little baby fish in it every year.
Mm-hmm.
Where do they come from and where do they go? Because they're not in that stream. That stream washes into, it washes into Floggerty Run, which goes to the Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
But are those eggs in the water all winter? There are times that stream's down to almost nothing in the dry season.
Most fish that we have here would be spawning and laying eggs in the spring, and they'd hatch in the spring. After a few weeks.
That's when you see the fry in the few deep spots.
Yep, and then they'll stay there as long as they can, and they'll follow the water as it retreats or evaporates, and eventually end up in the bigger streams. We have a lot of fish fry that do that around our wetlands. We have carp that come into the wetlands every spring with the storms, and they'll lay their eggs. And
Carp?
Yes, carp. They're not native, unfortunately. We'd like to be able to keep them out of the wetlands, but they do come in and lay their eggs, and they provide a food source for herons and eagles and osprey when they...
All the big birds look up and go, "Hey, man, breakfast."
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So.
They're not native, aren't they? They're native to rivers, though, right?
We do have some native carp here in Pennsylvania, but these species that are getting into our wetlands are not one of those native species. So that can basically not necessarily destroy, but it takes up living space that our native species need.
That stuff that was there before that's getting pushed out.
Yes.
Like the Asian carp in the Midwest.
Yes.
All right, what is plant and tree identification? Past, this is poison oak, this is poison ivy.
That is usually for our scout groups and some of our older school groups. They come in and we go over different plants and trees that are beneficial for habitat, that if you're thinking about working on backyard habitat, those are the species that are native that you want to consider first. Also looking at species that might not be so great to plant in your own backyard. Going over some of the invasive species that we want to get rid of and that take over habitat and make it very hard for our wildlife to, have a home in your backyard.
Heather Humbert is my guest. She's with the Beaver County Conservation District. You're the educator.
Yes.
These are classes for kids. You've also got classes for adults, and all the information that we've talked about, it goes into much greater detail. Just go to beavercountyconservationdistrict.org. This is my last question, and it ties into one of your classes. You teach a class to high school and college students called Protecting Our Resources. In a minute or less, it's the first thing that you would tell somebody. Somebody walks up and says, Heather, you teach this. I want to help protect my resources. How?
Well, first thing that I go over is basically the state regulations and how far they go. And then we talk about the additional steps that they can take to basically manage resources in their own backyard or at work, or with it being a careers exploration class, giving them ideas of career paths and courses of study that will lead them into fields that allow them to better protect our resources. So we always start with the regulations because we want people to understand just how far the regulations go, what they're good at, what they're not good at, and basically they can move on from there, deciding how they want to help and pursue future careers, possibly.
How often do you look at the regulations as a godsend, and how often do you look at them as a hindrance?
Well, our office wouldn't exist without those regulations.
So thumbs up.
Yes.
Is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, Heather?
Just a quick note is we do have some public programming coming up. So in July, we have a dog safety hike, which will be family friendly. Basically teaching people how to be safe out on the trails with their dogs. And that'll be July 9th. And then we also have our annual summer wildflower hike on July 30th. So we can go and that talk gets a little more technical, so maybe older kids if they're interested, but we'll go and explore what's in bloom around the wetlands. And then September, we have April Klaus will be coming back to do her Reptiles and Amphibians of Pennsylvania program with live animals. So watch our Facebook page and our district website for more information on those.
And you'll come back?
I will
Promise?
always come back.
All right. Heather Humbert has been my guest with the Beaver County Conservation District. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com.
Friendly Federal Credit Union is honoring graduates this month. Forget the fancy gadgets, jewelry, or lavish parties. Get your graduate a gift that will provide numerous benefits. a graduate account at Friendly Federal Credit Union. This is Cindy Hiladio. Graduate accounts at Friendly Federal include free checks, a $500 credit limit Visa card with approved credit, online access, great personal service, and a debit card tied to the account. Here's the great news. I've got applications for you and your graduate. Your student has until the end of this month to apply for the annual Anthony S. Payne and Carl D. Ross Memorial Scholarships. While they're doing that, you can apply for a low 2.75% home equity loan. Available now with approved credit. Visit Friendly Federal Credit Union for more information or click friendlyfcu.org. It's the place that makes more sense for you. Equal Housing Lender, member NCUA.
Saturday, June 25th is a big day for Beaver County. It's the day you and your family can enjoy the 12th annual Beaver County Boom. Just like the Boom has become an important part of Beaver County, so has Fry Transportation. The quality of Fry Transportation's organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel, not the name on the side of the vehicle. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, proud to help sponsor this year's Beaver County Boom.
It's easier than ever to connect with Pittsburgh-based Goldberg, Persky & White. With offices in Pittsburgh, Johnstown, and Weirton, the mesothelioma attorneys can easily come to you. For a free consultation, you can email GPW at info@gpwlaw.com, call 1-800-COMPLEX, or get your questions answered immediately by connecting the GPW's online chat representatives who are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at gpwlaw.com. Goldberg, Persky & White, working lawyers for working people.
Hey, it's Jimmy Fallon from Fox News, inviting you to tune into Beaver County Radio, weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. for Fox Across America with me, Jimmy Fallon. It is the fastest growing radio show in the country, mainly because of my weight. But the point is, you tune into our show, you could be a Republican, you could be a Democrat, just don't be a jerk. Listen live on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. I'll see you there.
You're listening to 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls and 1460 WMBA Ambridge.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. It was one of yesterday's most closely followed races, and the Trump-endorsed candidate emerged victorious. Katie Britt won her runoff against Congressman Mo Brooks. Britt, now the Republican nominee for Alabama's U.S. Senate seat. President Biden preparing to ask Congress for something that Republicans are dismissing as a gimmick and a trick.
High gas prices are putting a dent in family budgets, and they're a political liability for the president. So he's calling on Congress to suspend federal gasoline and diesel taxes for 3 months. The White House says Mr. Biden also wants states to suspend their own gas taxes or provide similar relief.
That's White House correspondent Greg Clugston. A bipartisan group of senators, 10 Democrats, 10 Republicans, releasing the gun control bill it's been working on.
On the Senate floor Tuesday, Senator John Cornyn of Texas announced,
"We've made some serious progress."
Cornyn is the chief Republican in talks on a bipartisan gun violence bill. The leading Democrat is Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut.
I'm proud of the place that we're getting to.
The legislation would enhance background checks for the youngest firearms buyers and toughen penalties on gun traffickers. But while sentiment for some type of congressional action on guns has grown following recent mass shootings in Buffalo, New York and Uvalde, Texas, such legislation remains unpopular among Republicans. At the Texas GOP convention last weekend, Cornyn was booed by delegates. Mike Gracia, Washington.
Afghanistan has been hit by a powerful earthquake that has left at least 1,000 people dead and caused widespread property damage. The magnitude 6.1 quake struck in a rural, mountainous region of eastern Afghanistan near the Pakistani border. At least 1,500 people injured. Stocks are mixed on Wall Street. The Dow down 173 points, while the Nasdaq is trading 13 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I've always been kind of cynical towards advertising, which I know doesn't make much sense considering I'm currently recording a commercial. It's all the fluffy words that make us cynical, right? A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a blue light special, but only, of course, if you call right now. It all kind of makes me nauseous, and yet here I am about to say,